guys, I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran, coming in hot from Heroes Comic Con. I want to talk a little bit about some comic book things, being on the floor for some previous cons, actually cons my entire life, working in the comic book industry for almost 20-some years. I want to talk about the real deal and what's going on with comics. But first, let's talk about this announcement. Marvel and DC at the event horizon, if you will, of the collapse of the comic book industry have decided to make a bunch of one-shots, a crossover, and I'm pretty sure we're going to end up with like a Justice League Avengers event, but they're going to milk it for what it's worth. We had the Batman Deadpool series, and why not crossover? Why not do a Kevin Smith Daredevil Green Arrow, right? Because remember back when Kevin Smith was fat and people thought he was cool, and he basically wrote Marvel Knights Daredevil with Joe Quesada, right? And Jimmy Palmiotti. And it was a big hit. It was a cancellation number book, being one of the hottest books and a nice imprint at the time with things like Inhumans and the Punisher, not so much. But, the Marvel Knights was kind of hopping there for a second. There was a good Fantastic Four run by J. Lee Grant Morrison that seems like nobody remembers. But go check that out. Anyways, so I look at this, and there's a lot of things happening in the American comic book industry. I was watching Wes Thinking Critical, and he brought up that he had an insider that told him that Amazing Spider-Man sales numbers have dropped down to 47,000. And that didn't surprise me at all, because I don't believe Batman's been selling 100,000 copies. So when you guys see sales charts, just to let everybody know, the sales charts are based off the concept of Batman selling 100,000 copies. And then from there, you can tell where every book ranks. So they're all like, I know it's a weird thing. Publishers hide the numbers. And right now, I'm looking at the movement of the American comic book industry, and they're trying to attract retroactive fans that bought books, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago to come back to their brand, because they burnt their brand. They burnt it down to the ground. And I know people are going to say, Shane, you've been saying this for years. Well, it's actually, we're here. It's been happening. So the death of the comic book industry wasn't just going to happen with in a few seconds. It was going to happen all at once. I remember Perch, again, a guy I used to watch his channel a lot, seems to have an issue with me. He was talking about for years, and you go back on his channel, how he was going to open up a comic book shop, and everybody's saying the comic book industry's dead and blah, 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 blah. I hope to God he didn't, because, the American comic book industry is $33 million in debt. Diamond filed bankruptcy. Penguin Random House is picking it up. And I think, hearing that Amazing Spider-Man might be selling 47,000 copies, and that being a flagship popular character book. I mean, some of these other books, in comparison, Marvel's losing money. Now, somebody asked me at the con, well, how is it possible that Marvel would just keep losing money on comics? They don't really see it as a mega corporation as losing money yet. They're about to, though. If these movies keep underperforming or breaking even at best, they're about to pull the plug, I think. A lot is riding on Fantastic Four, I'm afraid, and I think even Superman to some extent, because I think DC's doing a little bit better. But see, the mega corporations see this as like a type of way of spending money to keep characters alive, copyright, all that stuff, but also advertise. I know that seems weird, but in one comic book, and maybe if say they're losing $20,000 an issue that they produce, I mean, they're advertising a library of characters for Wonder Woman, keeping Wonder Woman out there. But, maybe they pull some of their money back on a trade or whatnot. But I don't know. I don't know if in my entire life I've seen the American comic book industry look this grim. I was at Heroes Comic Con this weekend. And, looking around, between this con, Baltimore Comic Con, and C2E2 in the last couple of years, walking the floor, I only really remember one comic vendor selling new comics. and that was Third Eye Comics at Baltimore Comic Con. And that's a nice store, nice guy that runs it. I think I even did a variant cover back in the day for his shop now, and I've done signings there. He's a great guy. On Sunday, they marked their single issue new comics down 50% off. That was their cost. Like, if you walk any Comic Con this last year, the floor, 99% of the comics on the floor are either back issues or omnibus, new printed omnibus, Marvel and DC, that are going back and collecting the 90s and whatnot. My point to this is I probably Marvel and DC Comics, their merchandise has not been represented on the floor of what they're publishing today. Nobody's taking it, and you're talking like Comic Cons are where like a lot of normies are going to run into comics for the first time. The American comic book industry right now is reading backwards more than it's reading forwards. If Amazing Spider-Man is set 47,000 copies, and every Comic Con I've seen this year, 3 in like say a little over a year, people aren't interested in anything Marvel and DC are printing right now. It's kind of propped up the entire industry right now with obviously variant covers that are perceived like, you know, because it's 1 in 100 copy cover of Art Germ, Miss Marvel or something. It has a baked in value, I guess, because it's 1 in 100 of that. And is it sustainable? No, obviously. I mean, it's a dumb question. This isn't sustainable because right now, My Books A Million and near my mall, they have pushed the American comic book industry books all the way to the back corner of the shop, and manga, and I'm talking old manga like Fist of North Star, are getting bookends, and they just push the American comic book industry out, and it's all manga right now. Now, with that said, is it the characters that people have lost interest in? Is it the talent of telling stories that the American comic book industry doesn't have the talent for anymore? There's a number of things that could be happening here. But, you know, the reality is this is what normies are going into now, and omnibus are selling. Toys that are old video games, stuff like that. Sure, manga's ruling. It's a weird state. The indie scene is kind of thriving in a way, which is great. You know, I'm out here selling independent comics too, and you know, I'm having fans and anime and people doing cosplay anime buying my books at these cons. They're looking for new stuff, but I think the simplest thing here isn't the need for another gimmick from Marvel or DC. Nobody's really needing Kevin Smith to come back and pull his fan base back into comics because I don't know if he still has one. They basically just need to get back to being able to tell stories once again and entertain people to return again. I don't think we lost readership. I don't think comics are over. I just think mega corporations have lost the script. It became more about, I don't know, squeezing fans into diversity comics, trying to build lead readers to right think, I guess. I don't even know. I don't even know. I look at it and I scratch my head and I wonder, because it isn't people giving up on reading comics. It's not, or manga wouldn't be thriving here. And it's not the art style of manga really, even, because I have totally anime people who buy my books at these cons. So it's not that. If you guys will, leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Or do you guys think Marvel DC crossover, these one shots, are really going to do anything for the American comic book industry? Because if this crossover doesn't, I mean, I think it's over. I mean, if this can't generate heat, if this can't put asses in seats, so to speak, then what do Marvel and DC do next? If you guys will, go check out Annatomic. This is our new campaign right now. We got 21 days left on the first 30. We at $76,468, 852 backers. Guys, this is a prequel book series to Inglorious Rex. It's a good place if you're a first-time reader. I'll play a trailer for this. Go check it out, and we'll catch you guys again with another video.
If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Annatomic. And this is how my legend was made.